I think everybody could agree that this unlimited money printing and this enormous debt will have consequences someday. But because we've seen so much money printing, so much exponential debt, the debt is enormous. The liquidity problems they're very, very real. We feel that up to 25% of paper assets, if this situation is correct, should be moved right now sideways into physical gold to protect you from not being destroyed during the next financial crisis.
This is the Gold Standard from Midas Gold Group with Kenneth Russo. Hello, I'm Dave Deno. Welcome to the Gold Standard, your source for secure investment opinion and information on the advantages of purchasing and owning precious metals. Whether you're a novice investor or an experienced collector, this is the program that gives you a realistic weekly perspective on the state of the economy, reliable information about using precious metals such as gold, silver, and platinum to safeguard your wealth, and remarkable details about specific precious metal coins and bullion. Ken Russo is a senior vice president at Midas Gold Group, and his peers characterize him as a straight shooter who will work harder for you than anyone else. Ken, it is a pleasure to join you again this week.
Nice to talk to you today, Dave. Let's get this party started.
Yes, indeed. Our topic today is what we're calling the Great Reset, or we might subtitle this, The Push Toward Worldwide Digital Currency. How our government, as well as international financial organizations, want to move us into a digital currency system worldwide, away from coinage and paper money. And we're going to get into the possibility of that and the dangers that it presents to privacy and liberty as we go along today. But first, let's look at some financial headlines from the past week. And boy, have we got some. Previously here, we have drawn attention to what's called wholesale price inflation, noting most recently that it was over 11%. And you warned that it had to find its way to the consumer price index, which it did in the month of May. Inflation hit an all-time 40-year high of 8.6%. Ken?
Yeah, things are getting real sporty out there, Dave. There's a lot of money that's being lost, trillions of dollars in stocks and in bonds, and it's going to continue for a while. And Dave, the inflation report delivered an unwanted surprise for the White House, the Federal Reserve, and for investors. Although, as you noted, we saw this coming over a month ago, if not longer, Dave. Yeah. It's basic logic. How can you have a super high wholesale price index inflating at more than 11% and not to expect it to affect retail prices, Dave? It makes no sense. I mean, it boggles my mind that the so-called experts leading our government and monetary policy cannot see and acknowledge this. Believe it or not, I'm seeing reports, Dave, that say many economists and some administration officials had expected prices to show some signs of cooling. But of course, they got the opposite, a re-acceleration in price growth, the fastest pace of inflation in over 40 years. Even one left-leaning think tank said the report was pretty ugly and shows the pain workers and their families are experiencing.
So, Ken, how did gold fare over the last 12 months compared to the value of the dollar?
Well, gold was up 19% in 2019, Dave, and was up 25% in 2020. It was down 3% in 2021, and this year it's basically flat to up 1%. So with all the paper carnage that we are seeing, gold, Dave, has held its value and it's held its gains from the previous few years, and it's expected to rise significantly in the coming years ahead. So everything that's going on, the price of gold is expected to go higher. It has not reflected truly what's happening in all of these paper markets.
So our money is worth less, but our gold is holding its value, right?
Yeah, and we believe it's getting ready for that next move up, to reflect everything that's going on. When markets sell off heavily, stocks are down over 20% year to date, so are bonds. There's a serious financial system problem here. It's a liquidity problem, and it's going to get a lot worse. So all in all, gold is holding its own.
Yeah, the stock market dropped dramatically recently. people are starting to lose their faith in the stock market. And a reminder here that you're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group. Today, our topic is the Great Reset, the push toward worldwide digital currency. So, Ken, let's dig into our topic. You recently wrote a blog titled The Great Reset, and you said that it will change money as we know it today. What do we need to know?
Let's start by highlighting, Dave, a recent event in the news that graphically demonstrates the danger of digital currency system. When American and Canadian truckers, Dave, recently expressed their personal views about vaccine mandates and were willing to protest and fight for their personal freedoms and choices, their bank accounts and the ability to financially survive were shut down. Believe it or not, assets were frozen. These folks were ostracized and basically taken out back to the woodshed. They were suddenly deprived, Dave, of access to their own money and their own bank accounts. Is that outrageous or what?
Yeah.
And it would have seemed beyond belief just a few years ago that this could ever happen. But that is now the control a government has, Dave, over your paper money, your savings, your checking accounts, and even your investments. They can absolutely shut you down financially to force you to comply with their will. And that is even more ominous threat to liberty, Dave, which is the bedrock of American freedom. This is one of the reasons I so strongly believe in owning physical gold, Dave. It's yours. You think about it, it has value. You hold it in your own possession. It cannot be digitally tracked or controlled, Dave. It gives you financial strength and independence while others around you have their wealth invested in paper assets that can be controlled and actually shut down. And this should be very, very important to our audience and every single American, everybody who's listening, anybody who has an investment or savings out there. And this is something, Dave, we would be happy to discuss with investors or our listeners about. They can give us a call here at Midas Gold Group. We're here Monday through Friday from 8 to 4 Pacific time. You could leave a message on the weekend. We will call you back as soon as possible. And once again, the number here, as Dave Deno says many, many times here on the Gold Standard, 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD.
A reminder here, you're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group. And today, our topic is the Great Reset, the push toward worldwide digital currency. Later in the program, we're going to look at another example of the government's ability to freeze financial assets. But first, digital currency. Ken, who is pushing this concept?
Well, this is where we see the real danger of a concept, Dave. It's being promoted by a private organization made up of business and government leaders worldwide. It's called the World Economic Forum, or the WEF, which many of our listeners are probably aware of. And let me say to this point, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, Dave, or a wild-eyed alarmist. What I'm going to tell you is well documented. The World Economic Forum, the WEF, is a private corporation. It is not granted any powers by humanity. And what they suggest is that a globalized world, Dave, listen to this, is best managed by an alliance of multinational corporations, governments, and civil society organizations.
Wow.
The WEF is funded through the backing of the central bank funded superiors or elites. The WEF holds an annual meeting, Dave, at the end of January each year in Davos, a mountain resort in Switzerland. The meeting consists of some 3,000 paying members and selected participants. Global issues are discussed by investors, business leaders, political leaders, economists, bankers, celebrities, and journalists. And Dave, what we see is that the WEF main initiatives today are a global redesign and something that they call the Great Reset. And this reset has many facets to it, politically, socially, and financially. And obviously, today we're talking more about financial aspects of it. And Dave, the WEF is based on a Prussian political philosophy. A nation must be ruled by an autocratic elite and nothing but a submissive, compliant citizenry is acceptable. Which is just outrageous that in 2022 that we would be talking about something like that, especially in the greatest republic in the world. But the perfect scenario under this Great Reset will land all of us in a political, social, and financial prison. The World Economic Forum and the Great Reset will destroy, Dave, our money and investments that are connected to the fiat banking system that artificially prop up the value of currency and rigged financial markets. Our money and financial system as we know it, Dave, will look totally different than it's looked over the past few decades. In other words, central banks or the Treasury will control our personal and our retirement accounts.
Ken, I got to tell you that upon first hearing that a person might think you've gone too far, it couldn't be like that. What do you say?
Yeah, I agree, Dave. It's a lot to take in, and I wish it wasn't true, but this stuff goes deep. But this is from the horse's mouth. This idea of a digital currency system is in a Federal Reserve System report. It's available for free. If you would like, give us a call and request it. We've already seen legislation proposed in Congress that we've talked about many times that would allow our government to track our financial transactions greater than $600 in the banking system. Now, with central bank digital currency or central government digital currency, all of our transactions, all of them, Dave, are easily tracked. In January of 2022, the Federal Reserve came out with a new report on central bank digital currencies. If the Fed or the Treasury Department, Dave, controls our personal banking and retirement accounts with this digital currency, our transactions will no longer be funneled through banks. Our personal accounts would be literally held at the Fed or the Treasury Department in central bank digital currency or central government digital currency. These accounts, Dave, would be controlled by us through an app on our phone. And yes, folks, our phone is a surveillance device. Our accounts will be tracked and monitored by central bankers, our governments. And when our financial system, Dave, is reset in this manner, not only will our accounts be controlled by other entities, our financial privacy, and this is what's really important, and our financial freedom will basically be completely gone. The ability to monitor our spending habits is shocking. The proof is right there for the reading. The new system will track, Dave, everything that we do. It's a financial system under this reset that can literally control how and where we spend our money. The privacy of our investments and our money in this system is zero, Dave.
So how does physical gold then protect us from this kind of intrusion and control?
Yeah, that's a good point, Dave. It's physical gold here at Midas Gold Group is gold you hold, is gold you own. It's tangible wealth. It's not dependent to any propped up financial system. It's private. It's not listed on any account ledger. It's your personal wealth. It guards you against any attempt to control your finances. People are losing faith in the financial system, like you mentioned earlier, Dave, but they're also losing faith in our money. Imagine what would happen if the government came up with some excuse like, Canada, Dave, did to freeze your financial accounts, shutting you off from your own money. Gold you own protects you from anyone else controlling you financially, and that's very important. And in today's world, that possibility is not beyond a real possibility.
You're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group, and today our topic is the Great Reset, the push toward worldwide digital currency. And in a moment, we're going to look at a specific precious metal that you can use to safeguard your wealth, and that's coming up right after this.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka here. Part of the so-called Great Reset from the multinational elite is to enact a digital wallet currency. Think of the implications. Time to create your own gold standard with a call to the dealer I do business with, veteran-owned Midas Gold Group, the America-first precious metals experts who can help you with IRAs and more. Get your portfolio reset with gold and silver. Call Midas Gold Group for their guide to owning bullion and coins today. 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653 or MidasGoldGroup.com.
And we're back with more of The Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Deno. On today's program, our topic is the Great Reset, the push toward worldwide digital currency. By the way, if you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, we invite you to come and visit us at our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com, MIDAS, MidasGoldGroup.com. For those of you listening in other cities, call us directly at 855-322-4653. GOLD. 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers, that's 855-322-4653. Ken, now we turn to look at a specific gold product. Today, the South African Krugerrand. This is a coin that is well known worldwide, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, Dave. It was first released in 1967. So the South African Gold Krugerrand is one of the world's oldest modern minted 1-ounce gold bullion coins and one of the most popular, Dave, among investors.
What makes this such a popular gold bullion coin?
Well, the South African Gold Krugerrand, Dave, it offers an extraordinary value for bullion collectors across the globe. Since 1967, the coins have undergone a variety of changes throughout the years. This is a 1-ounce gold coin, Dave, but it actually weighs 1.1 troy ounces. It's 22 karat gold, 9167 pure. It measures 32.77 millimeters in diameter, and it's 2.84 millimeters in thickness. So that means that it's noticeably larger than many of the other gold bullion coins, Dave. Production of this coin has varied over the decades. Believe it or not, in the 60s, they were only making about 40,000 of them per year. Then in 1978, they actually made 6 million Krugerrands.
And its appearance?
Well, the South African Krugerrand, it's named for the statesman Paul Krugman, the long-running president of South Africa. Rand at the end of the coin's name is the name of the South African currency. Krugman image graces the obverse or head side of the Krugerrand, with South Africa's national symbol, Dave, the antelope-like. It's actually a springbok leaping across the reverse. It's very impressive. It's a nice gold coin. It's undervalued. We believe if gold does well, this will appreciate by 50 or 100% over the next 3 to 5 years, and definitely a favorite among bullion investors.
And if I want these, you can get them for me.
Yeah, we do. We have, clients that sometimes just want a couple, and we have other clients that sometimes want a couple hundred. So they are available. Give us a call. We can check our inventories in our vaults and, throughout the United States, and we can see how many we actually do have, but they are available in brilliant uncirculated condition, and they'll make a nice addition to any gold coin portfolio.
Wow. Thank you, Ken. Coming up in just a moment, we're going to be talking again about the Great Reset, the push toward worldwide digital currency. We're talking with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group, and that's coming up right after this.
I'm here with Midas Gold Group's senior trader and Marine Corps veteran, James Clark. James, why are people investing in gold and silver?
Well, Dr. Gorka, the Federal Reserve supplies money to pay for congressional spending. As Congress expands spending, the Fed has no choice but to keep printing money at an accelerated rate. This causes the dollar to fall and gold to increase.
So as the Fed and Congress devalue the dollar, what can people do?
As the nation's #1 veteran-owned precious metals dealer, we offer diversification strategies in the form of precious metals. As Congress looks to the Fed for more money, investors look to gold and silver to protect their nest egg.
And I recommend that you look to Midas Gold Group for all your precious metal needs. Call Midas Gold Group for their guide to owning bullion and coins today. 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653 or MidasGoldGroup.com.
And we're back with more of the Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Deno, and our topic today is the Great Reset, the push toward worldwide digital currency. By the way, if you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, we encourage you to visit our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and directions, all you have to do is log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com, MIDAS, MidasGoldGroup.com. And for those of you listening in other cities, just call us directly at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers, 855-322-4653. Now, let's return to our topic today. Ken, we started our program with the story of how the Canadian government was able to freeze financial accounts of protesters who disagreed with some of their mandates. And that might be passed over. It's just an isolated incident. But other recent events have shown how the government, our American government, can indeed control individual finances and the finances of another country.
Yeah, Dave, and this is something, a topic, Russia and Ukraine, that it has mixed emotions.
Hmm.
But let's focus on when the war broke out, Dave. What did the U.S. government do to Russia?
Mm.
That's what's important. Personal assets and banking privileges in U.S. dollars were confiscated and revoked.
Wow.
Russia was no longer able to use the SWIFT banking system. Private investments of oligarchs and assets were frozen and destroyed pretty much immediately. So that's a pretty scary scenario for those that are invested in paper assets. You don't have to live in Russia to be scared if you're invested in paper assets. That's the point, Dave. It demonstrates that the same control can be exerted against you by our government if it finds a reason to list you as a danger for whatever reason, how outrageous that sounds or not, Dave. So, a side thought here, interestingly enough, Russia responded by pegging their currency, the ruble, to gold
Mm.
and to other commodities. In fact, many governments worldwide are now building their supplies of gold as their fiat currency systems are failing. Very important. So basically, they're pushing paper currency on their people, but behind the scenes, central bankers and central banks are buying gold. This is all bad news, Dave, for the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. The bottom line is that as a global reset, Dave, promotes one world currency with one world control, the demise of America, audience, is important for the World Economic Fund ideology to prosper. Let me repeat that one more time so everybody out there who's holding financial paper assets that are going to get destroyed when the economy and the markets fall apart, the demise of America is important for the World Economic Fund ideology to prosper.
That's a very serious warning, and a reminder here that you're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo from Midas Gold Group. And today, our topic is the Great Reset, the push toward worldwide digital currency. Ken, let's get back to our personal financial protection then. In light of what we've talked about today and the issue of a coming financial storm, maybe even a financial collapse in America, what portion of a person's savings and investments are you seeing your clients moving into the safety of gold?
Yeah, and the audience may be listening and say, wow, these guys have really lost it this week, Dave. This is really out there. But, I think everybody could agree that this unlimited money printing and this enormous debt will have consequences someday. So even if you want to keep it that simple, keep it that simple. But everyone's a little different. But because we've seen so much money printing, so much exponential debt, the debt is enormous. The liquidity problems they're very, very real. We feel that up to 25% of paper assets, if the situation is correct, should be moved right now sideways into physical gold, Dave, to protect you from not being destroyed during the next financial crisis.
Wow. It is guidance like this that really shows why I own gold from Midas Gold Group. Ken, thank you so much for your guidance and your counsel.
Absolutely, Dave. Nice to talk to you again.
That is going to bring us to the end of our time together today here on the Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by Midas Gold Group. A reminder, opinions given here are not intended to be specific to your investment strategy, but rather general information to give you a better understanding of investing in precious metals. For answers to your questions, call Midas Gold Group at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers 855-322-4653. And the website is MidasGoldGroup.com, and it's a great website. Go take a look at it. MIDAS, MidasGoldGroup.com. The Midas Gold Group is proud to be America's #1 veteran-owned gold dealer, supporting veterans' causes with a portion of profits donated to the Wounded Warriors Project and the Semper Fi Fund. So your investment in your future is also an investment in the future of those who have bravely served the cause of freedom. Again, the number to call to speak directly with Midas Gold Group is 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. Ken, thank you again for your time today.
My pleasure, Dave. Have a great day.
You too. I'm Dave Deno. Come and join us again next week at the same time for another edition of The Gold Standard.
The Gold Standard was brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.